Hello everyone. Today we will be discussing social perception and how it relates to social categorization and groups. While social perception encompasses the question, who am I? A major component of this question is, who do I belong with? As social creatures, humans are constantly grouping themselves with other individuals who are like themselves in some category, and are very good at detecting when someone is different from them and they do not belong to their group. Just like how aspects of social comparison and societal standards can leave individuals feeling worthless or perhaps not good enough, inequity among certain demographics can have the same effect. Aspects of social psychology, such as self-categorization, discrimination, in-group and out-group biases, and many other theories, are responsible for the world becoming a place in which individuals are not necessarily treated equal by society, despite us all being children of God and crafted in His image. Humans are all unique and come from a multitude of cultures, races, and identities, but these categorical differences and the nature of humans can sometimes have a negative impact on how individuals or society treats others. Social categorization is the theory that individuals categorize themselves and others into various groups. It encompasses two major parts: a personal component, which involves differentiating oneself from others, me versus them, and a social component, which involves differentiating between the groups one belongs to and other groups, us versus them. Categorization can take many forms, and individuals can belong to a multitude of groups. Groups can be as broad as race or gender, or as specific and minuscule as favorite NFL team. While categorization can make things easier, many negative aspects have also come from the natural human tendency to group people together. Along with this, group affiliation has been proven to have a significant impact on self-perception and self-esteem, as well as having an impact on how individuals are treated by individuals and society. Along with looking at the writing and theories presented in the textbook, we will also discuss two studies in which social perception is analyzed in a group setting. In this presentation, we will be covering 5 major areas of social perception as it relates to groups. These are social categorization, stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination, in-group versus out-groups, self-esteem, and how these problems can be mitigated or reduced. I will end the presentation with a conclusion of self-perception as it relates to groups, as well as 2 takeaway questions. As mentioned previously, social categorization is the theory that individuals categorize themselves and others into various groups. Individuals will use the concepts of normative and comparative fit to try and place others or themselves into pre-existing categories to save time and energy. Humans are very good at detecting when they are in a group that they do not associate with, and this causes a heightened psychological response in the brain that does not happen when an individual is within their own group. For example, an African American female will be more psychologically active if she walks into a store full of Caucasian males than if she walked into a store filled with African American females. Along with this, humans self-categorize based on 3 components: cognitive, which asks, who am I? Evaluative, which asks, what do I think of this group? And affective, which is, would I like to belong to this group? The next concept is in-groups versus out-groups. In-groups are groups in which an individual associates with, and out-groups are the remaining groups that an individual does not associate with. One problem with this aspect of social perception is that categorization tends to cause an overestimation of differences between groups of people and an underestimation of differences within a group of people. This creates a mindset of, we are all the same, and they are not the same as us. And this leads to individuals discriminating or forming stereotypes against various outgroups. One theory is the outgroup homogeneity effect, which assumes that members of outgroups are more similar than individuals within a person's in-group. This can take place in many forms, but a common example is Caucasians grouping individuals from China, Japan, Korea, and other Southeast Asian countries as simply Asian, and failing to differentiate between the different countries and how unique they all are. Next, we will be discussing stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination. Because these terms are sometimes used interchangeably, we will be defining them first. Stereotypes are beliefs or associations that link whole groups of people with certain traits or characteristics. Prejudice is negative feelings about others because of their connection to a social group. And finally, discrimination is negative behaviors directed against persons because of their membership in a particular group. It has been found in many cases that negative stereotypes can cause individuals who belong to a certain group or associate with the ideals and beliefs of a group to disassociate from that group for fear of being labeled or discriminated against. A study conducted by Basher in 2013 found that individuals who agree with the beliefs and ideals of a certain group will disassociate from the group if there is a negative stereotype surrounding it. In their first study, they found significant evidence to support this idea in feminist groups, a group with very negative connotation, and found that even women who associated with feminist ideals would not associate with the group when they were asked. Next, we'll be discussing self-esteem. Self-categorization and group affiliation has been found to have a profound impact on self-esteem, as well as how individuals are treated by society. A study conducted by Shepard and Sigg, 2015, showed that even association with groups as specific as music genre preference can have some impact on an individual's self-esteem and how they view themselves. Groups that are commonly associated with negative stereotypes can lead to discrimination and lower a person's self-esteem tremendously. Finally, we will be discussing ways in which we can reduce the problem. Most research today points to the idea that discrimination and outgroup effects come from a preference towards one's own group and not a dislike of outside groups. Exposure of groups can reduce stigma associated with outside groups, and also educating oneself can lead to reduced biases and prejudice against groups due to ignorance or preconceived notions. Harsh lines that previously separated groups in the past are now becoming blurred as well, and this will be tremendously helpful in eliminating stereotypes and discrimination. Especially regarding race, more people are starting to associate with multiple groups due to biracial relationships becoming more socially acceptable and common. Individuals can share characteristics of many groups and can therefore bring in outgroup influences to insider groups. While all humans are created equal in God's image, social norms and prejudice have drastically impacted the way in which society operates today. Aspects of social psychology, such as the theory of social categorization, as well as stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination, can help better explain why individuals see differences in others and develop a quote-unquote dislike for them being different. Social categorization and social perception are naturally occurring theories in human life. Humans create social perceptions of both themselves and others in order to group these individuals and make it easier for them. Due to the grouping nature of categorization, many negative byproducts have come from it. These include stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination, as well as in-group and out-group biases. Ultimately, these are caused from underlying beliefs about certain groups or behaviors of people, but as seen over the past several centuries, these thoughts and actions can be diminished significantly from exposure or becoming educated about other groups of demographics. We also discussed how the groups in which individuals associate themselves with, or that they associate others with, have a tremendous impact on his or her self-esteem and their self-perception. Despite some negatives, there are positive takeaways from these theories. The lines which separate certain groups are starting to become less black and white as individuals begin associating with multiple groups rather than just one in a particular category. Also, education and exposure to these individuals will help individuals become more accepting of outside groups that they were not previously associated with. Even though prejudice, discrimination, and stereotyping may never go away completely, there are many ways in which to mitigate these thoughts to make society more welcoming and hospitable to all individuals. Despite what has been seen in society recently, God created all humans equal, regardless of race, gender, or any other defining category. Finally, I will leave you guys with 2 questions. In Romans 10:12, it states, "For there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. The same Lord is Lord of all, and richly blesses all who call on him." Can verses such as this help prevent against social categorization and the racist or prejudiced thoughts and actions associated with it? And next, how can the outgroup homogeneity effect be potentially dangerous regarding what is happening in the world currently, i.e., the Black Lives Matter movement and civil rights issues?